Chapter 1594. Platinum Supreme Palace. A servant knocked on the door of the study carefully. Young master, someone from master's side is here to take young master over for dinner. Lu Tingxiao looked up from a pile of documents. Ask young master to come over. Yes, young master, the servant answered and left. After a while, Xiaobao entered the study. Lu Tingxiao stood up from the chair in front of the desk and sat on the sofa in the room. He said to his son, "Come and sit." Xiaobao walked over and sat down, holding a fluffy white rabbit in his arms. He had saved this rabbit when he went on an outing with his mother. After the rabbit's leg injury had healed, Ningxi had tried to release it with Xiaobao, but the rabbit refused to go anywhere and followed Xiaobao. Xiaobao couldn't bear to let it go, so he brought it home and kept it. Compared to when it first came, the rabbit had grown fatter. In little Bun's arms, it looked like a round white ball. Lu Tingxiao looked at his son and said, "Grandpa and Grandma want to take you over for dinner tonight. Of course, there's something else besides dinner." Xiaobao was so focused on touching the rabbit in his arms that he didn't even look up. Lu Tingxiao said, "It's about your mother." Xiaobao raised his head and stared at Lu Tingxiao. Even the rabbit in his arms pricked up its ears. Lu Tingxiao sighed and continued, "Your grandpa and grandma are going to set me up on a blind date." Xiaobao immediately understood what his papa meant. He pursed his lips and said with a determined look, "I'll protect Mom. No one could replace Mom." Lu Tingxiao nodded in satisfaction. "Just try to stall for time. I'll take care of the rest." Xiaobao nodded. After the father and son chatted, Xiaobao followed the people who came to pick him up to the old house. Grandpa, Grandma, Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui had been waiting in the living room for a long time. When they saw their precious grandson, the two elders beamed with joy. The gloominess that had hung over them for the past few days disappeared. "Xiaobao is here. Grandma missed you so much. Come and give Grandma a hug." Xiaobao walked over obediently and hugged his grandmother. Yen Rui was so happy that her heart melted. She looked like she was satisfied with her grandson. "Come and eat. Don't let Xiaobao starve," Lu Chongshan said as he urged the kitchen to start eating. The dining table was filled with Xiaobao's favorite dishes. Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui kept putting food into Xiaobao's bowl, piling up into a small hill. The two elders looked at their obedient, sensible, and smart grandson with eyes full of love. Lu Chongshan coughed lightly and had no choice but to break the atmosphere. He gave his wife a warning glance. Yen Rui frowned, and could only ask tentatively, "Xiaobao, what kind of girl do you like to be your mother?" Xiaobao looked like he was thinking seriously. Yen Rui and Lu Chongshan looked over nervously. "A girl like my mother," Little Bun replied. Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui. There was no doubt that Xiaobao was referring to Ningxi by my mother. Yen Rui coughed helplessly and continued, "Baby, your Aunt Xiaoxi is indeed a very good and excellent girl. But there are many better and more excellent girls. But you are too young to meet them. If there is a girl you like more, will you let her be your mother?" Little Bun blinked. "I'll have to wait and see." Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui were overjoyed to hear this. They didn't expect things to go so smoothly. Lu Chongshan immediately said, "Then Grandpa and Grandma will arrange it and let you choose by yourself, okay?" Little Bun nodded. "Okay." Chapter 1595. Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui were overjoyed to hear their grandson's affirmative answer. "Xiaobao, Grandpa and Grandma told you that you can't go back on your word, right?" "Yes." Xiaobao will look at it carefully. Lu Chongshan heaved a long sigh of relief. He could finally put down half of the burden in his heart. He thought it would be very difficult. After all, that woman had completely manipulated his grandson. He didn't know what she had said to Xiaobao behind his back. He was afraid that Xiaobao would make a fuss. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly. As long as Xiaobao was willing to get in touch with others, he was confident that he could change Xiaobao's mind. After Xiaobao's side was confirmed, Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui began to make arrangements. This matchmaking party was definitely grander than the one that died halfway 5 years ago. He didn't believe that Xiaobao would be attracted to so many outstanding girls, all of whom were from top aristocratic families. Apart from that, the biggest difference between this time and 5 years ago was probably, last time, They were going to have Lu Tingxiao look at him. This time it was Xiaobao. Soon, the news that the Lu family was going to hold a socialite tea party spread in the circle. On the surface, it was a tea party that invited the daughters of the big clans to be guests and enjoy the flowers. In fact, those who knew the inside story knew that it was a matchmaking party. It was just an elegant and euphemistic way of saying it. After the family meeting, most of the socialites who had come for Lu Tingxiao had not left the capital. They were all excited when they heard the news. In a high-class resort under the Lu family, inside the spa hall, a group of girls were scrambling to get a facial massage and a fragrant treatment. They gathered together in groups of 3 to 5 and chattered away. Oh my God! I still can't believe it. Is Mr. Lu really going to matchmaking? I was also shocked. I thought that I had come here for nothing. After all, the lipstick on the leader's collar was so eye-catching at the family meeting that day. The girl's tone was full of jealousy. Such a big thing happened to the Lu family. This is expected, right? Someone murmured, but because it was a taboo topic, they didn't dare to speak loudly. Stop talking. Let's get ready. I'm so nervous. I wonder what kind of type the patriarch likes. Patriarch is also a man. Aren't men all the same? They like beautiful women. While the girls were discussing, a mocking voice suddenly came from the side. A bunch of idiots. The girl who spoke had fair skin and a slender figure. Her face was filled with arrogance. A girl who was doing her nails saw them and immediately exploded. Hey, Qingying, who are you calling an idiot? I still haven't settled the score with you for lying to me and saying that Lord Patriarch is ugly and a monster. The girl next to her also took off her mask. That's right. Who are you calling an idiot? If you have something to say, just say it. Why are you acting so weird here? I don't have the obligation to teach you idiots a lesson. After saying that, the girl turned around and left. She did not stay for a moment longer. She had already received insider information that the person who would appear at the tea party was not Lu Tingxiao, but Lu Tingxiao's only son, the young master of Lu Enterprises. Therefore, these idiotic women were just doing useless things. Until now, they still didn't know what the key to becoming the matriarch of the family was. If they weren't idiots, then what were they? Chapter 1596. Qi Yingying was naturally not the only one who had insider information. In fact, many of Lu Chongshan's favorite candidates were personally revealed by the Lu family. Guan Jichen had been going to the old mansion every day after the family meeting ended. He was just short of staying there. The Qi family had also sent their grandson Qi Shuai, who was the same age as Xiaobao, to the old mansion to play with the little crown prince. They were trying to figure out the little crown prince's temperament and preferences, so that they could know each other better. Some of the more far-sighted people even thought that even if the family could not produce a matriarch, they might produce a future matriarch. Thus, the little garden outside the old mansion's French windows was filled with the esteemed grandchildren of the first wife and first wife. In the living room, there was a group of rich madams and ladies. They looked at the lively and adorable children in the little garden, with loving expressions on their faces. Apart from their parents' repeated reminders, the children truly liked Xiaobao. Although he did not speak much, he was very polite and very smart. He had an innate sense of leadership. Especially the girls. After a few days, they looked at Xiaobao with incomparable admiration. They fought to play with Xiaobao and gave all their toys and food to Xiaobao. Guan Jichen looked at the little brat who was being fawned over by everyone and felt disdain in his heart. However, on the surface he kept praising Xiaobao. Little brother Xiaobao is a genius. Previously, when I gave little brother Xiaobao the Rubik's Cube, I needed an hour to solve it, but Xiaobao solved it in just over a minute. Last time there was a particularly difficult math problem that no one present could solve, and only Xiaobao solved it. Wow! Xiaobao is so amazing. So amazing. Xiaobao, can you be my master? I want to. Big brother Xiaobao, I want to marry you when I grow up, okay? In the crowd, the prettiest and cutest little loli came bouncing over and said sweetly. Because of this sentence, the peaceful atmosphere over the past few days was broken. Just as she finished speaking, a tall and sturdy boy suddenly rushed out of the crowd. Tian Tian. No. You're my wife. The little lowly immediately looked at the little boy with disdain. Then she walked to Xiao Bao's side. I'm not your wife. I'm Big Brother Xiao Bao's wife. You are. You are. The boy was so angry that his face turned red. He even reached out to pull the girl up. As the person involved, Xiao Bao retreated a little. There was still no emotion on his face. Just like his father, he didn't like women at all. It was obvious that he wasn't interested in the question of who was whose wife. Hurry up and tell me, Tian Tian is my wife. Not yours. The little fatty couldn't argue with the girl, so he ran to Xiao Bao and shoved him to make him admit it. Guan Jichen looked at the little fatty thoughtfully and recognized him as Qi Shuai, the precious grandson of Qi Jingwen's family, one of the biggest shareholders of the Lu Group. The Qi family had spoiled this little fatty to the point where he was unruly and fearless. He was hot-tempered and impulsive. He didn't expect that the Qi clan would even dare to send this kind of person here. They weren't afraid that he would cause trouble. Now was the best opportunity. Father said that the Qi family is youngest aunt's greatest opponent now. It would be better for him to take advantage of this opportunity to help his aunt get rid of the Qi family, so that they wouldn't even have the chance to participate in the tea party. Chapter 1597. Guan Jichen's eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness that didn't match his age. Of course, it would be best if he could kill two birds with one stone and get rid of Lu Qingyu, this arrogant little brat. He had been humiliated at the birthday banquet last time. When he returned home, he was grounded by his grandfather and father for a whole month. Then he was forced to apologize and fawn over this little brat like a servant. He had had enough of it. He had to vent his anger no matter what. What super genius! What insufferably arrogant little prince! He was going to make him lose face in front of everyone today. Let's see if anyone would dare to compare him with this little brat again in the future. Qi Shuai obviously liked that little lowly. He was an impatient person. Because his family had repeatedly warned him before he came, he had gotten along well with Xiao Bao previously. Now that he saw that the girl he liked had been snatched away, he immediately forgot everything. His mother had promised to buy Lu Qingyu a transformer after he became friends with him. Did you hear that? Tian Tian is mine. Little fatty roared. Oh. Xiao Bao nodded slightly with a look of indifference. Little fatty Qi was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Xiao Bao would really not fight with him over such a cute girl like Tian Tian. Seeing that little fatty might not be able to make a fuss after his anger subsided, Guan Jichen said in a joking tone, Little brother Qi Shuai, you can't do this. As a gentleman, you should respect a girl's opinion. He was completely speaking up for Xiao Bao. He couldn't bear to see Xiao Bao being forced to compromise. Xiao Bao slowly raised his head and glanced at Guan Jichen. Guan Jichen's heart skipped a beat. There was nothing wrong with what he said just now. This little brat couldn't have seen anything. Even if he did, he couldn't do anything to him. Qi Shuai panicked. Tian Tian. Then tell me, who do you like? Of course I like Big Brother Xiao Bao. The little lowly called Tian Tian immediately said crisply and angrily took Xiao Bao's arm. I only like Big Brother Xiao Bao. I don't like you. Don't bother me anymore. I hate you. Okay. After being provoked by Guan Jichen, the problem immediately went back to what it was. This time Qi Shuai was even angrier. Qi Shuai was the same age as Xiao Bao, but he was a head taller than Xiao Bao, and twice as big. When he rushed in front of Xiao Bao angrily like a bull, he was like a small mountain to Xiao Bao. Tian Tian. What's so good about this shorty? He was so short and so skinny. Look at the bunny doll in his pocket. That was something only girls played with. He's a sissy. Shame on you. Although children were innocent, the more innocent they were, the more terrifying they were when they became malicious. After all, Xiao Bao's health wasn't good in the past few years. Although Ningxi had put on a lot of weight after she came, it wasn't easy for her to grow taller. Compared to her peers, she was indeed a little shorter. Qi Shuai, who had lost his mind, started to call Xiao Bao shorty, sickly invalid, and sissy. In fact, there were quite a few golden grandchildren like Qi Shuai who were dissatisfied with Xiao Bao these days. Especially when they saw how popular Xiao Bao was with the girls. How could they not be dissatisfied? Where there were people, there would be society. Even the world of children was the same. Originally, they were forced to come by the adults. After a long time, they were provoked, and the conflict suddenly erupted. Chapter 1598. Now that they saw Qi Shuai step forward, they all whispered in agreement. That's right, so short and so fair, just like a girl. Sissy. Sissy. I saw on TV that people who act like that are sissy. He even plays with girls' things. Guan Jichen had been speaking up for Xiaobao. Everyone stop fooling around. We're all friends, let's not make things unpleasant. How can you say that about Xiaobao's little brother? The other girls, including Tian, also angrily defended Xiaobao. You guys are too much. Don't bully Xiaobao. Qi Shuai rushed forward and pulled out the little rabbit from Xiaobao's suit pocket. He held it in his hand. That's right. Playing with girls' things. Disgusting. At this time, the madams in the living room had already noticed that something was wrong with the little garden, especially old Madam Qi. She stood up and hurried towards the direction of the little garden. Xiaobao, who had been expressionless the whole time, instantly changed his expression the moment the little rabbit was snatched from his chest. Guan Jichen did not notice, but he was very pleased to see this wimpy kid being bullied to the point of not daring to say a word. Return it to me. Xiaobao looked at the rabbit plushie that Qi Shuai had snatched from his hand, his expression extremely cold. Qi Shuai shuddered inexplicably, but when he saw the other party's weak monkey-like appearance, he immediately became bolder. After all, he was a fearless person at home, and a habit that could not be easily changed with just a few words from the adults. He snorted proudly. Not returning it. Not returning it. Come and snatch it if you can. Shorty. As Qi Shuai yelled, he deliberately raised the rabbit high in the air, sincerely preventing Xiaobao from reaching it. The other boys beside him were all gloating and snickering. He's not going to cry later, is he? Only girls will cry. He's a girl. Xiaobao took a deep breath. I'll say it one last time. I'm not giving it to you. I'm going to piss you off. Piss you off. Even if I throw it away, I won't give it to you. Shorty. Sissy. Qi Shuai's dirty little hands maliciously pulled the raised rabbit plushie back and forth. Right at this moment, the expressionless little treasure suddenly appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. Then, without giving him any time to react, he felt a gust of wind blow past his ears. In the next second, Qi Shuai, who was almost twice the size of Xiaobao, was kicked a few steps away like a kite with a broken string. He crashed onto the ground with a bang and kicked up a cloud of dust, along with a burst of gasps. All the children were dumbfounded. Xiaobao walked step by step to the place where Qi Shuai had been kicked and looked down at the little fatty who was completely dumbfounded from the fall, and didn't know what had happened. Xiaobao clearly had a cute little face carved from jade, but at this moment, it was so cold that it sent chills down one's spine. I've warned you. Not far away, Lu Jingli, who had come to check on the information, happened to see this incomparably familiar scene. Fuck. That kick was. He had inherited little Cece's teachings. To think that he was worried that Xiaobao would be at a disadvantage and rushed over in a hurry. How could the child of his brother and little Cece, the combination of the genes of these two beasts, be at a disadvantage? Chapter 1599. My mother taught me to use diplomacy before force, and I've already given you a chance. Little Steamed Bun bent down and picked up the little rabbit plushie that had fallen to the side. She carefully patted the dust off it with her little hands, then carefully put it back into her chest pocket. Half of the bunny was stuffed in the pocket, while the other half of its head was exposed. It was as if it was sticking its head out of the pocket, looking exceptionally cute. Ah! The madams and madams who rushed over just happened to see the scene of Qi Shuai being kicked away, and they were all stunned. After a long while, they reacted and quickly ran over, especially old Madam Qi who ran the fastest. Shuai. Cool. How are you feeling? Oh my god. What should we do? Old Madam Qi was scared out of her wits. I didn't touch his vital parts. He's fine, Xiaobao replied coldly. He was kicked so far away. How could he be fine? At this time, Qi Shuai, who was stunned by the kick, finally woke up. The little fellow immediately pushed away his grandmother, who was holding him, and then rushed to Xiaobao like a whirlwind. He was so excited that he was incoherent. Lu Qingyi, how did you do that? Do you know Kung Fu? It's that hero on TV who can send people flying with a kick. Come on, do it one more time. One more time. Madame Qi was embarrassed. Now she believed that her grandson was fine. What nonsense are you talking about? What do you mean again? You naughty monkey. How many times have I told you that you have to be polite when you're a guest in someone else's house? Why are you making trouble for me again? Madame Qi had seen with her own eyes that her grandson had robbed the others' things and provoked them first. Just now, she was worried that her grandson would get hurt. Now that she had calmed down, she was scared. Wasn't he offending the other party badly? How could Qi Shuai know so much? He was already running around Xiaobao excitedly, asking him how he did it, and whether he could teach him. He even wanted to trade his precious toy for it. If this little guy had a tail behind him, it would probably be wagging its tail. Not only Qi Shuai, but children were also very interested in such things, especially boys. As a result, Xiaobao was immediately surrounded by a group of little guys. Brother Xiaobao is so cool. Brother Xiaobao is really amazing. He was a real man, not a girl. Lu Qingyu, why are you so strong? Lu Qingyu, do you know any movement techniques? The group of naughty brats' emotions disappeared as quickly as they came. At this moment, they surrounded Xiaobao and chattered incessantly. They didn't have the slightest attitude of finding fault with him. Madame Lu, look at this. I'm really sorry. My Shuai is too naughty, but he really means no harm. Old Madame Qi apologized to Yan Rui apologetically. Yan Rui was indeed very angry when she saw Xiaobao being bullied, but now she naturally calmed down. Looking at her grandson who was teaching the children, she said, they're all children, so it's normal for them to have some friction. Mrs. Qi, don't be nervous. Madame Qi breathed a sigh of relief. Immediately, other madams took the opportunity to flatter her. Madame Lu, your Xiaobao is really amazing. How can he be so skilled at such a young age? He wasn't trying to flatter Xiaobao. Based on Xiaobao's skills and the way he was teaching the other children, it was obvious that he had undergone formal training. Chapter 1600. Yan Rui's face was full of pride. Actually, it's nothing much. I just hired a master to train him so that he can strengthen his body. That's more than just strengthening his body, right? I also hired a taekwondo master for my son, but it didn't work at all. It's the same for my son. May I know which master Mrs. Lu hired? One of the ladies asked. Yan Rui looked a little embarrassed when she heard that. She had heard from Jingli that Xiaobao's master was a friend of Ning Shi's. It was all arranged by Tingxiao. I'm not too sure either. Yan Rui answered ambiguously. On the other side, Lu Jingli was secretly sending text messages to little Cici and his brother. Lu Jingli, little Cici, do you know what I just saw? Our Xiaobao is awesome. He sent the little fatty from the Qi family who bullied him flying with just one kick. Soon Ningxi replied to his text message. Ningxi, my sweetheart's genes are so awesome. Lu Jingli then sent the same content to his brother. Lu Tingxiao replied. It's the child's mother who taught him well. Lu Jingli was instantly filled with so much dog food that he wanted to die. Hey, did the two of you have an appointment? Peach Blossom Cove. Ningxi was lying on a rattan chair under the shade of the flowers in the courtyard. She had a script in one hand and her phone in the other as she replied to Lu Jingli's text message. Her eyes were full of smiles. Her phone beeped. Lu Jingli had replied to her again. It was a screenshot of Lu Jingli asking Lu Tingxiao the same question. Lu Tingxiao's answer was, it's the child's mother who taught him well. Ningxi immediately chuckled. She could almost imagine the expression on Lu Jingli's face when he saw her and Lu Tingxiao's replies at the same time. She was going for an interview with Jiang Xingzhou's crew tomorrow. In the evening, Lu Tingxiao, Xiaobao, and Lu Jingli would all come over for dinner, saying that they wanted to cheer her on. Ningxi also invited her second senior, Tang Lang, over. After all, he was Xiaobao's master. After coming over at night, Lu Jingli vividly described Xiaobao's heroic appearance during the day to Ningxi. Now those brats have all been subdued by our Xiaobao. Tang Lang was originally rather unwilling to accept this little disciple, but at this moment, He was exceptionally happy and felt an exceptional sense of accomplishment. Of course, don't you know who taught him? Ningxi was speechless as she looked at the person next to her who was shining brightly. Don't flatter yourself. That's my Xiaobao. If it were someone else, he would be angered to death by your unreliable master. Is there a master like you who disappears every 2 to 3 days? As Ningxi spoke, she looked tenderly at the father and son who were busy in the kitchen, with a faint smile on her lips. But I didn't delay my teaching. Today is the best proof. Tang Lang laughed mischievously, and then looked thoughtfully at Ningxi who was on the sofa, his expression filled with admiration. TK, little junior sister. It's not that I want to criticize you, but you sure are calm. Your sweetheart is about to go on a blind date, and you can still laugh? With my sweetheart and baby holding the fort, what do I have to worry about? Ningxi rolled her eyes at him, then paused and said in a drawl, Moreover what? Tang Lang raised his eyebrows with interest. Ningxi's legs were placed on the coffee table, and one hand lazily supported her head. Her eyes flickered as she continued to speak. Moreover, there's still me if anyone dares to seduce my sweetheart. At most, if one comes, I'll turn them gay. Tang Lang. Pooh. Lu Jingli, who had just walked over with a glass of water, spat out a mouthful of water and coughed violently. Chapter 1601. Lu Jingli coughed for a long time before he stopped, and said with a horrified expression, Little Cece, you're so scary. I'll keep my girlfriend away from you in the future. Ningxi looked at him from the corner of her eyes. Wait until you have a girlfriend. You're so worried about nothing. Damn. Lu Jingli cursed and immediately howled in the direction of the kitchen. Brother. Sister-in-law said she would turn all the girls who seduce you gay. Are you going to do anything about it? This time it was Ningxi's turn to curse. Damn. Lu Jingli. Are you a 3-year-old? How dare you complain? As Ningxi spoke, she immediately withdrew her leg and looked nervously in the direction of her sweetheart. Lu Tingxiao was walking over with a plate of food in his hand. He glanced at Lu Jingli expressionlessly and said, I won't give her this chance. In other words, he wouldn't give other women a chance to seduce him. So Ningxi naturally wouldn't have the chance to do anything. Ningxi immediately smiled and glanced at Lu Jingli proudly. Then she leaned over and kissed Lu Tingxiao on the cheek. Find someone I love dearly and want to love dearly to bid farewell to being single. A passionate, infatuated, heartless person to scar me. Lu Jingli cried again and fainted in the toilet. After dinner, Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli couldn't stay long because they had to go back to the company. Ningxi originally wanted to ask Little Bun to stay for the night, but the Little Bun refused. Little Bun looked up at his mother with a reluctant, but determined expression. Mom, I'd better go back to Grandpa and Grandma today. Afraid that Ningxi would be unhappy, the little boy added nervously, Mom, don't be angry. Little Bun will always be with you. Ningxi knew that the little boy had taken the initiative to stay at the old house for her. Her heart was filled with gratitude. She squatted down and hugged the little boy's soft body. Yes. Mom will always be with Little Bun. I'll be with Little Bun forever. Little Bun immediately pursed his lips and looked happy. After seeing the 3 of them off, Ningxi and Tang Lang ran to the roof to enjoy the wind and drink. Tang Lang laid on the floor with one hand behind his head and sighed. TSK, my good disciple is so lovable. No wonder you're willing to have a man to take care of your child. Ningxi was leaning on the railing, looking up at the starry sky above her head. Hearing this, she immediately turned her head in dissatisfaction and said, He has his own cheat, you're jealous. All right. I'm jealous. Tang Lang was speechless as he looked at her protective expression. He seemed to have thought of something as he revealed an expression of lingering fear. That's really scary. Satan and Lu Tingxiao actually have such a relationship. Although Tang Lang had been in the organization since he was born, he had only just found out about this matter. In addition to his personality, he was always fighting and didn't care about anything else, so he paid even less attention to these things. Ningxi pinched her eyebrows. She had a headache at the mention of this. She was the one who was the most shocked. Okay? Second senior brother. You've been with Satan for so long, have you seen his mother? Do you know who she is? Ningxi asked tentatively. Tang Lang shrugged his shoulders. I've never seen her, and I've never heard him mention her. I can't imagine that guy was born from a human. If it wasn't for this incident, I would have thought that he was born from a crack in a rock. Ningxi was speechless. Forget it, she knew she shouldn't have asked this unreliable guy. She should save her time and read the script. Chapter 1602. The next morning, Ningxi rushed to the audition venue on time. During this period of time, she had been studying scripts at home. What Lin Jiji did was to help her find a lot of materials related to movies and television for her to refer to. She didn't care about anything else. Everyone in the industry knew that director Jiang Xingzhou's audition was both the easiest and the hardest. The simple thing was that his production team rejected all recommendations and unspoken rules of private relationships. Everything depended on one's ability. The difficult part was that it only depended on one's ability. Jiang Xingzhou was famous for being harsh, so much so that the artists in the industry would feel their scalps go numb whenever they heard those 3 words. But there was nothing they could do about it. Their films were a guarantee of quality and awards. It was a place that A-listers who wanted to compete for fame had to fight for. When Ningxi arrived, she saw that almost all the people who came for the audition were A-listers in the industry, and most of them were powerful, because those without strength would not dare to come here at all. Last year, there was a popular artist who relied on his backing and many fans to come to Jiang Xingzhou's place. In the end, because his acting skills were too bad, he was almost scolded by Jiang Xingzhou and left the entertainment industry. After Ningxi arrived, she greeted everyone and found a corner to sit down to prepare. The others were all waiting with rapt attention. They were all experienced actors, but they were as nervous about director Jiang's audition as they were when they were taking their first college entrance exam. Ningxi paid a little attention to her opponents and saw a few familiar faces. Fang Xiaowen and Su Jiaojiao. She'd met the 2 of them at the Luoqing perfume commercials audition. It was normal for Fang Xiaowen to be here, as she'd also won a Golden Palm Award. But this Su Jiaojiao, Ningxi could only admire her courage. There were quite a few people like Su Jiaojiao who didn't have any acting skills, but still took the risk to come and try their luck. It was worth mentioning that many of the celebrities present were already pregnant. After all, the female lead this time was a mother. Most of the characters in the movie were middle-aged. If the female lead was too young, no matter how good her acting was, she would not be able to portray the maternal nature and the vicissitudes of life. When she was chatting with Song Lin earlier, based on what Song Lin said, director Jiang was also planning to find an older female lead. Whether it was in terms of age or appearance, she was obviously not competitive in this group of competitors. Senior Song. Sister Lin. Sister Lin, you're here. Suddenly, there was a small commotion in the crowd. Song Lin had arrived. Song Lin was also one of the judges this time. After hearing Song Lin's name, Ningxi's eyes instinctively chased after her. What surprised her even more was that the goddess was actually wearing their Zeiling's high-end style today. Song Lin responded to everyone's greetings with a proper smile. She didn't talk to Ningxi and soon entered the audition room. Soon after Song Lin arrived, the audition began. The first to enter was Su Jiaojiao. In less than 3 minutes, she came out crying. Everyone present wasn't surprised. Instead, they looked as if they had expected it. However, a few female artists like Su Jiaojiao, who were here to try their luck, paled. The audition continued, and soon it was Ningxi's turn. After Ningxi's number was called, many people turned to look at her. She had received Director Feng's well-deserved evaluation, and she had also won the Golden Palms Award for Best Supporting Actress and Best Actress. It was inevitable that she would receive a lot of attention. Chapter 1603. Although they wouldn't say it out loud on such an occasion, they inevitably felt that Ningxi was too arrogant. To put it bluntly, she was overestimating herself. She had only won a Golden Palm Award and hadn't even touched the edge of an A-list international award. She didn't even fit the character's image, yet she dared to audition for director Zhang's role? She was no different from Su Jiaojiao. Hello, judges. I am an artist from Shengshi Entertainment, Ningxi. Ningxi gave a simple greeting. There were 5 judges today. The one in the middle was Jiang Xingzhou, and on his right was Song Lin. There were also the producer, assistant director, and scriptwriter. Without a doubt, Jiang Xingzhou was the one with the most authority. Perhaps it was because he hadn't found anyone suitable after auditions, but Jiang Xingzhou's expression didn't look too good, and his aura was even more terrifying. "Hey, Director Jiang, you'll affect the performance of the actors if you keep a straight face." Song Lin chuckled and teased him. Song Lin was probably the only one present who dared to joke with Jiang Xingzhou. "What's the point of acting if I can't even stand this little bit of interference?" Jiang Xingzhou said coldly. "This little bit of interference? Director Jiang, you're too humble. After I returned from my first audition with you, I had nightmares for several nights." Due to the judge's idle chatter and the fact that Song Lin had been so nervous during her first audition, Ningxi's originally tense mood relaxed a lot. She looked at Song Lin with a trace of gratitude in her eyes. "All right, let's begin," Jiang Xingzhou said. Ningxi nodded and drew out a slip of paper. Scene 37. Losing a son on a rainy night. Seeing the scene she drew, Ningxi frowned slightly. Oh no, why did it have to be this scene? Several people had already drawn this scene. Jiang Xingzhou's face didn't show any special expression, and he said step by step, "You have 10 seconds to prepare." As soon as Jiang Xingzhou finished speaking, someone beside him started the countdown, not giving the actors any time to react. Even if the female lead was mute and didn't have any lines, it was still a huge challenge for the actors to read the script and immediately get into character within 10 seconds. Fortunately, she was well prepared and knew the content of the script by heart. She only needed one look to know what she had to do. 10 seconds were up. The staff member who was helping with the rehearsal said, He's out of breath. Xiao Zhu is out of breath." The staff members were only responsible for saying the lines, but they did not know how to act. Even when they read the lines, there were no emotional ups and downs. It was all up to the audition artists to get into character. The moment the staff finished speaking, Ningxi's expression froze, and then she scrambled to hug the prop man on the ground. At the same time, this prop was also very casual. It was just a blanket wrapped around the person, and one had to imagine that it was a child. When Ningxi rushed over like crazy, everyone thought she would burst into tears, but she didn't. Ningxi held the child in her arms tightly, pressing her cheek against the child's cheek, kissing the child's cold forehead and face. Shivering, she took off her coat and wrapped it tightly around the child, hugging and kissing the child, gently rocking the child. It was as if the child hadn't died yet, however, from the mother's trembling body, the extreme fear on her face, and the fact that she was still trying her best to hold on, and the fact that her eyes were wide open, yet she was unwilling to shed tears. Everyone knew that the child was indeed dead in the end. The mother's suppressed emotions finally erupted. She cried silently, but it was deafening. Chapter 1604. After the performance, Ningxi almost instantly left the scene, stood up, and bowed to the judges. Jiang Xingzhou looked at her thoughtfully. He wanted to say something but only said, "That's enough." Ningxi replied and walked out. A trace of sadness flashed across her eyes. She might not get the chance this time. After the audition, Ningxi is absent-mindedly walking on the side of the road, when suddenly a white car slowly stops beside her. "Xiaoxi." Hearing Song Lin's voice, Ningxi came back to herself. "Senior Song, shall we have a drink?" Song Lin invited her. Ningxi wasn't in the mood, but she nodded because it was her goddess's invitation. Song Lin brought her to a members-only music bar. There weren't many people inside and soothing music was playing. The atmosphere was good. "What would you like to drink?" Song Lin asked. "Anything is fine. Then I'll order for you." "Okay." Ningxi nodded. When Song Lin saw how obedient the girl was, a smile flashed across her eyes. "What do you think? Are you confident about today's audition?" At the mention of this, Ningxi's expression was a bit awkward, but she still answered honestly, "To be honest, I'm not confident. There are too many powerful seniors this time. My performance should only be average." Song Lin looked at her deeply. "That's not necessarily the case. Your previous performance was already considered excellent, but..." Song Lin paused and continued, "Although it's not bad, It's not possible for you to get the role. Hearing this, Ningxi looked as if she had expected it. When she accepted the script, she didn't read it carefully. After going home and reading it, she found a fatal problem. These days, she had been trying to solve it, but she didn't expect that. She still failed in the audition. Actually, I was prepared before I came. I'll try harder next time. Ningxi smiled. The waiter brought the 2 cocktails Song Lin ordered. Song Lin took a sip and looked at the girl. Why? Ningxi didn't know what to say. What? Why did you suppress your acting? Song Lin asked. Hearing Song Lin's words, Ningxi was startled. And then a trace of helplessness flashed across her heart. As expected of Senior Song, he wasn't that easy to fool. No, Sister Lin, you think too highly of me. I tried my best. Ningxi coughed and said. Song Lin thought for a moment, then propped up her chin and said, or I should put it another way. You have your reservations, so you can't unleash your true abilities. I don't believe that's all you can do. Ningxi's headache worsened. In fact, her performance today was already very good, in terms of acting. However, the most fatal point was that she was not immersed in the emotions at all. She had no empathy, and was not immersed in the role. Ordinary people might not be able to tell, but for people like Jiang Xingzhou and Song Lin, they could probably tell at a glance. Especially Jiang Xingzhou, who valued emotional acting and not pure acting skills. After seeing her performance, he would definitely not be satisfied. Did someone secretly cause trouble for you? Song Lin asked in a low voice. Ningxi quickly shook her head and explained, no, it's my own problem. Chapter 1605. Ningxi obviously didn't want to say more, and Song Lin wouldn't press her. But she still felt it was a pity. She knew the value of this film, and the height it could bring Ningxi to. If she missed this opportunity, she might have to wait for years for another film of this quality. By the way, Cici, do you have a boyfriend? Song Lin suddenly changed the topic, which made Ningxi choke on the wine. Cough cough. Are you all right? Song Lin patted her on the back. I'm fine. Ningxi took a breath. What? Is this question more difficult to answer than the previous one? Song Lin chuckled. Ningxi quickly said, no, I don't have a boyfriend. Alas, although it was her goddess sitting opposite her, she couldn't tell the truth. Really? Song Lin swirled the wine in her glass. Then what about a girlfriend? Pfft. Ningxi choked again. Song Lin couldn't stop laughing at the girl's innocent reaction. Cici, you are so cute. Ningxi pulled a long face. She couldn't tell that her goddess liked to joke in private. Song Lin looked a little tipsy and looked at the girl in front of her with sparkling eyes. I'll like you more and more. Ningxi was flattered. I like you too, Sister Lin. Song Lin smiled but didn't speak. This girl was definitely not an innocent person. Otherwise, she would have been devoured by this circle long ago. What was rare and commendable was that in front of the person she adored, she was still able to maintain her pure and honest side. She liked everything that was true, which made her want to collect and keep it for herself. After saying goodbye to Song Lin, Ningxi called Lin Jiji as soon as possible. Although Song Lin told her not to give up so early, and maybe there was still hope, she knew that Jiang Xingzhou was very strict. No matter what the reason was, she couldn't pass his test today. Sister Jiji, the audition is over. Unfortunately, I got the least chance. It's a bit dangerous. Lin Jiji comforted her. It's okay. You tried your best. Let's wait for the notice from the crew. If you fail, we'll use the backup one. I've just secured a Hollywood movie for you. There aren't many scenes, and if everything goes well, we can finish shooting it in a few days. You can go and shoot this first. This time, because the other party is in a hurry and it's just a small role, there's no need for an audition. You can directly join the cast the day after tomorrow. Although that was what Lin Jiji said, everyone knew that even if it was only a few seconds, it was still a dream for every Chinese artist to appear in a Hollywood blockbuster. In fact, these few seconds might even be the first step for them to enter Hollywood. Many famous S-listers were nothing but bystanders in Hollywood. Lin Jiji made it sound easy, but it was definitely not easy to get the role. Ningxi was a little surprised. A Hollywood film? Could it be the Thunderbolt Secret Service? The one Ningxi Luo signed? That's right. They were originally talking about Ning Xuelua, but after Ning Xuelua retired from the entertainment industry, the role became vacant. Although there's an objective factor of a last-minute replacement, the competition for this role is still very fierce. The main reason why you were chosen is because You're Under the Heavens was very well received in China. There are more scenes of fighting and Chinese martial arts, so foreigners are very interested in it. The director was very satisfied after seeing the trailer. Chapter 1606. So that was it. Ning Xuelua had retired from the entertainment industry, and Ning Shi had won the Golden Crown Award for Best Actress. Her image and popularity were all right, so she got the role. Okay, Gigi, I understand. I'll be joining the crew the day after tomorrow, right? Ning Shi knew about this role before. It was a mysterious Asian woman who was good at martial arts. It wasn't difficult for a stunt double like her. Nowadays, the Chinese film market was getting bigger and bigger. Even Hollywood had to pay attention to it. In order to boost the box office in this country, many Hollywood blockbusters liked to play this trick. They would use popular Chinese supporting roles in the movies. When the time came, the Chinese side would make use of this to promote the movie. However, in reality, when the movie was screened, the Chinese actors would only have a few minutes or even tens of seconds of the plot. She had interned in Hollywood before, and the treatment of Chinese and Caucasians was worlds apart. It was cruel, but it couldn't be helped. That was the current situation. Lin Jiji replied, "Yes, I'll be joining the crew the day after tomorrow. The post-production of Nine Cloud Heaven is about to enter the promotional period, so I need to prepare. I can't go with you in person, but I'll get Tao to go with you later." Okay, no problem. Ning Shi hung up the phone after talking to Lin Jiji. Although she had just been informed of the unexpected good news, Ning Shi was still a little disappointed at the audition. Late at night, Peach Blossom Cove. At the door, there was a beep. The door automatically recognized the person's pupils and fingerprint. Lu Tingxiao entered the living room and saw that the lights were on. The girl was lying on the sofa in her pajamas, fast asleep, holding a script in her hands. Lu Tingxiao frowned, walked over quietly, and took the script from the girl's hands. Just as he was about to put the script on the coffee table, he froze when he saw the content. Scene 37. Losing a son on a rainy night. It was obvious that the owner had read this page countless times. The edges of the paper were frayed. Lu Tingxiao? Yeah. Why are you here so late? Lu Tingxiao didn't answer. He picked the girl up from the sofa and walked towards the bedroom. Why don't you sleep in the room? Because he was worried about her. Lu Jingli had already told him about her audition, and it didn't seem to be going well. I accidentally fell asleep. Ning Shi rubbed her eyes in a daze. Lu Tingxiao placed the girl on the bed, and the girl very consciously rolled to the other side, leaving half of the bed empty. Lu Tingxiao caressed the girl's hair and lay down beside her. Didn't the audition go well today? Ning Shi sighed. Actually, it's okay, just that there are too many masters. But it doesn't matter. Before I went, I knew that the competition would be fierce. If I can't make it this time, I'll try harder next time. The girl's tone sounded very relaxed, as if she did not mind. If she had not been holding the script even in her sleep, and continued to read it after returning home, he might have really believed her. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl. He wanted to say something but hesitated. In the end he said, "Yes, there will be opportunities in the future." In fact, he had been worried ever since he found out that she had chosen this film. Now it seemed that his worries had come true. The girl he loved the most, all of her pain, was actually caused by him. Chapter 1607. Looking at Lu Tingxiao's expression, Ning Shi chuckled and couldn't help reaching out to hold his cheek. "Hey, it's just a play. Don't look sadder than me. It's okay. I'm not that weak. I can't even accept such a small failure." Lu Tingxiao felt as if a knife was twisting in his heart when he saw the girl comforting him despite her sadness. He held the girl tightly in his arms, wanting to comfort her, but not daring to touch the past. Ning Shi saw Lu Tingxiao's expression and knew that she couldn't hide it from him. She sighed and said, "Okay. I'm indeed still a little affected by what happened that year. After all, that child stayed in my belly for nearly 8 months. No matter what the truth was, she had always thought that the child belonged to her and the person she loved the most. From the beginning to the end, she had been looking forward to the arrival of this new life. During the days when Su Yan was missing, only this child accompanied her. She talked, sang, and told him stories. She poured all her beautiful feelings and a mother's love into him. However, when she woke up, everything was turned upside down. The beating little life in her body, which was connected to her by blood, had disappeared. When she was taken to the morgue, she saw the little baby's blue and cold body. That was a scene she never wanted to recall again in her life. And in the 37th scene of this play, if she could empathize and fully immerse herself in the role, she would definitely bring back that scene. She didn't dare to be immersed in the role. That was her body's instinctive self-protection function, which made her suppress her acting skills uncontrollably. Lu Tingxiao kissed the girl's forehead and stopped her from continuing. Don't act if you don't like it. I'll help you find a better script. Ningxi, if I tell you that the child is not dead, if I tell you that the child's father is me, if I kill you, if I tell you that the person you hate to the bone is me, the source of all your pain is me. No matter how smart Lu Tingxiao was, he couldn't predict what Ningxi would face if she knew all this. At the Su mansion, the popularity of the real and fake daughter had not completely died down. These days, Ning Xuelua had been staying at home to please Su Hongguang and Zheng Minjun. What did you say? That Hollywood role has fallen into Ningxi's hands? Ning Xuelua went to the balcony to answer the phone, and immediately looked gloomy. Yes, I heard that the contract has been signed. Ningxi will join the crew tomorrow. Chang Li's voice came from the other end of the phone. That bitch. Ning Xueluo's heart was filled with hatred when she thought about how much effort she had put in to get the role, only to have it so easily snatched away by Ningxi. If it weren't for this bitch, the Golden Crown Best Actress, the Hollywood contract, all of this glory would have been hers. So what? He's just a minor character that I don't want anymore. There were only 3 minutes of plot and 2 lines in the entire drama. What's there to be proud of? Ning Xuelua's tone was full of disdain. It wasn't that she didn't mention how she bragged about entering Hollywood when she got the role. That's all she can do. I heard that she went to audition for director Zhang's new show and her performance was terrible. She definitely didn't get selected. When the time comes, I'll find someone to promote her and make her lose face. Chang Li tried her best to make Ning Xuelua feel better. Chapter 1608. Sure enough, Ning Xuelua felt much better after hearing this. Keep an eye on the audition results. Don't worry, I will. Chang Li promised and then took the opportunity to ask, by the way, Xuelua, what happened to the thing I mentioned last time? When can I leave Starlight? Her status in Starlight had plummeted, and the most important thing was that she was in the entertainment industry. Ningxi and Lin Jiji often met her. She really didn't have the face to stay here anymore, so she hoped that Ning Xuelua could let her enter the public relations department of Ning's international group. Let's talk about it later. I'm still at home. How can I help you settle down? Ning Xuelua sounded a little impatient. Help me keep an eye on Ningxi first, or there's no need to talk about it. Chang Li knew that Ning Xuelua wanted to use her and squeeze out her last bit of value, but she had no choice but to agree. I got it. After the call with Chang Li, Ning Xuelua opened a pregnancy test kit and went into the bathroom. After a while, she came out with a dark face. Damn it, I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. Su Yan spent less and less time at home these days, and she could even feel that he was deliberately avoiding her. Zheng Minjun was also getting colder and colder. What shocked her even more was that Ning Yahua tried to test her last time, saying that it would be great if she had a younger brother, so that he could help her and support her. What a joke. Support him? If she really had a younger brother and Ning Yahua really had a son, would she still have a foothold in the Ning family? She might not even be able to keep her shares. Ning Yahua was most afraid of Zhuang Lingyu, so he would never dare to mess around outside. Why did he suddenly have such thoughts? Or was she thinking too much? In the blink of an eye, it was time to join the crew. The filming location of Thunderbolt Special Agent was in Chuan City, S Province. The scenery there was the most characteristic of Hua country, like an ink landscape painting. Because the filming this time had a great promotional effect, Chuan City directly blocked off the scenic area for the crew to film, and the surrounding hotels were all free of charge. Wow, the scenery is great. If it's the peak season, you have to book a room 3 months in advance. Xiao Tao excitedly pushed open the window of the hotel, and a large expanse of emerald green bamboo forest came into view. Accompanied by the sound of flowing water, there were dark-colored mountains and unknown birds in the distance. Oh, brother Shi, I hope you don't always pass in one go. Then we can stay for a few more days. Ningxi was stretching her legs on the railing. Hearing that, she turned her head and smiled at Xiao Tao. Sorry, baby, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. That word baby, that confident and dazzling expression. Xiao Tao immediately expressed that she had received a blow to her heart. Then, she hurriedly took a picture of this scene with a click. Brother Shi, can I use Weibo? Xiao Tao excitedly showed Ningxi the photos she had just taken. Ningxi didn't look at it carefully. Sure, let's go. The news that Ningxi had signed a contract with the film had been officially announced, so she could already reveal her schedule to the fans. Xiao Tao happily posted on Weibo. The background of the accompanying picture was the beautiful scenery outside the window. Under the setting sun, Ningxi was stretching her legs. The difficult and extremely standard movements made the girl's figure look excellent, especially when she tilted her head to look at the camera with a confident and doting smile. It was simply a hit for both men and women. Chapter 1609. As soon as Xiao Tao's Weibo post was posted, it received countless likes, comments, and reposts, and soon became a hot topic. Ningxi's fans were so jealous that they almost wanted to beat Xiao Tao up. In addition to all kinds of flattery, many fans recognized that Ningxi was at the shooting site of the Thunderbolt agents, and suddenly became even more excited. I've been a fan of Brother Shi since the world. My brother Shi is getting more and more popular, and now he can shoot a movie with the god of science. I'm so excited. And my gremlins Orlando, Benny, and my goddess Jennifer. They are all super international stars. My brother Shi is awesome. Among the excited voices, it was inevitable that there would be some comments that were out of place. I'm speechless. Isn't it just a cameo? Do you stupid fans have to be so excited? You make it sound like it's an important role. You'll be shocked when the movie is shown. It's just a cameo, and I guess he'll only show his face for a few seconds. Tut, he started off as a cameo, but he's still a cameo today. Didn't Ning Shui leave the entertainment circle because she didn't want this role? What kind of rich missy is she? How dare she pick up what others don't want? Someone's water army should clean their mouths. How dare she clamor here after doing such a shameless thing? She's obviously driven out of the entertainment circle like a stray dog. Who doesn't know that she spent tens of millions of yuan for this cameo? And even cheapened herself to join the crew with zero pay. Now you're speaking in a disdainful tone. Where's your shame? On the contrary, it's a shameless girl who has racked her brains to fight for everything, and is still shamelessly occupying the title of Rich Missy. Our brother, she doesn't even want it. Fortunately, Ningxi's fans were very powerful, and soon the other side was scolded into silence. Who had the strongest fans in the entertainment circle nowadays? Besides Jiang Mai, it was Ningxi. Many people were even secretly thinking who would win if Jiang Mai's fans and Ningxi's fans fought one day. After resting in the hotel for a night, Ningxi rushed to the shooting site on time the next morning. There were about 50 people on the scene, each with a clear division of labor. The atmosphere was tense as they filmed a gunfight scene. There were a lot of gunfights in this scene, but Ningxi didn't have any. She didn't have many scenes to begin with. She only had 2 scenes, and they were all classic Chinese martial arts scenes. There were 4 main characters in the show, 3 men and 1 woman, Colin, Orlando, Benny, and Jennifer. All of them were well-known Hollywood stars in China. Ningxi was one of the villain's subordinates. As for the entire plot, it was nothing more than a few heroes saving the world together. Hollywood blockbusters mainly relied on special effects and scenery. The intense shooting soon ended. After the director shouted "Cut," he saw a Hua girl not far away from him. His eyes lit up and he greeted her enthusiastically. Hey Ningxi. Director Martin. Ningxi reached out her hand to greet the director. Oh baby, you are even more beautiful than I imagined. You're just like an oriental porcelain doll. The director praised her exaggeratedly and then hugged Ningxi warmly. Ningxi modestly exchanged a few words with the director. She didn't take the director's words to heart. After dealing with foreigners for a long time, she knew that they were just habitually enthusiastic and didn't necessarily think that you were good. Chapter 16:10. Soon, the other leading actors also came over and greeted Ningxi one by one. Colin was one of the earliest generation of handsome men in China, equivalent to those young male idols who were currently popular in China. However, Colin was already in his 40s and had been polished in the circle for so many years. He had the charm of a mature man from head to toe. He was truly the Prince Charming in the hearts of fans all over the world. Benny was a classic bald tough guy in Hollywood. As for Jennifer, she was a super beauty with a hot body and big wavy blonde hair. She was the only female lead in the whole film. Orlando, nice to meet you, my little beauty. The one who spoke was Orlando, who was nicknamed Little Fairy by Hua Nation fans. The man had blonde hair and blue eyes. At first glance, one could tell that he was a romantic and handsome man. Whether it was in real life or in his role in the movie, the way he looked at Ningxi showed that he was very interested in her, but he didn't make it too obvious. Fans who were familiar with Orlando all knew that Orlando especially liked Asian women, and his several girlfriends were all Chinese. Me too, you are very popular with girls in China. Ha, is that so? Because Ningxi had studied in Luoyang City before, her spoken English was good, and she had no problem communicating with others. After a short greeting, Ningxi went to put on makeup and change clothes. For convenience, Ningxi came here in a simple white t-shirt and jeans. She only had one set of clothes in the film, which was the cheongsam that best reflected the style of China. While Ningxi was changing clothes in the dressing room, the people outside were busy preparing for the next scene. Because the director was busy talking to the leading actors, the staff asked Ningxi to put on makeup and go to prepare by herself. After changing clothes, Ningxi went directly into a thatched hut for the shooting. Later, the leading actors would come to visit her master, and she would be responsible for going out to receive them. Ningxi waited in the hut for a while in boredom, and finally someone outside shouted that the shooting could start. Asian. Outside an antique hut, Colin, Orlando, Benny, and Jennifer looked at each other, and then approached the hut with vigilance. Squeak! Accompanied by the hoarse sound of the door being pushed open, a fair and slender finger pushed open the door of the thatched hut. A Chinese woman wearing a cheongsam with flowing clouds and dark patterns appeared in front of everyone. The woman looked like a completely different person compared to when she was wearing a t-shirt and jeans. A colorful cheongsam outlined her perfect figure, and the perfect vintage makeup made her look like a classical beauty who had walked out of a painting. Her black hair was casually tied behind her head with a wooden hairpin. Her eyebrows were dark, and her lips were red. Together with this landscape that looked like a painting, they formed a dreamy picture. The wind blowing from the mountain touched the girl's hair on her temples. Ningxi's eyebrows seemed to be stained with frost. She coldly glanced at the uninvited guest in front of the door. Who are you? Orlando's expression turned sluggish as he looked at the woman in front of him, who was full of oriental charm. His expression changed from one of indifference to one of passion. The eyes of the other three leads also flashed with amazement. The director didn't seem to expect that Ningxi would be so good after changing clothes, so he forgave the leading actors' collective NGs. The shooting started again. Ningxi opened the door to receive the four people. Then she poured tea for them and asked them to wait for the master's return. Chapter 16:11. Director Martin had done a lot of research on Hua culture, so he could tell that Ningxi was very professional in making tea. It was supposed to be a very dull plot, but Ningxi's every move from making tea to pouring tea was filled with a sense of art and classical Chinese flavor. The collision of Chinese and Western culture made Martin's blood boil. This was the effect he wanted. Therefore, even though the filming time was over, Martin didn't stop it. He asked the cameraman to continue filming and didn't want to cut a single frame. You're amazing. After the first scene, The director came up to Ningxi and gave her a warm hug. This time, his compliment was obviously more sincere. Have you learned how to make tea? Ningxi was very happy to be praised by an international director like Martin. Yes, but I'm not very good at it. I can only do it for the filming. No. You're better than many professionals I've seen. You're very good. Director Martin had a serious look on his face. Then, he looked at the girl with a thoughtful expression. He had found a Hua actress purely to make a gimmick to make some money at the box office, but he didn't expect that the girl's performance would be so good. Wouldn't 3 minutes of footage be too little? The scene was over, and the next scene followed. Ningxi only had 2 scenes in total. If this one went well, she could leave tomorrow. The next scene was a fight scene between her and Orlando. The director had specially hired a top martial arts director to teach them martial arts moves. Orlando must have been working with this martial arts director for the past few days, so he was very familiar with the moves. Ningxi was also a fast learner. When Ningxi and Orlando practiced in private, they did it in slow motion, and only sped up a little when they were familiar with it. Orlando's attitude changed after he saw Ningxi change clothes. Now he was as gentle as water and patiently taught her to cooperate with her, for fear of hurting her. Ningxi was disgusted by his pampering. After all, she had been in the battlefield. How could she not know what this guy was trying to do? This guy wants to flirt with me? It was said that Orlando liked Asian girls, and it seemed that it was true. However, Orlando was still a gentleman. Although he was suspected of using filming to pick up girls, he never flirted or touched her. Well, everyone get ready. The next scene is about to begin. Director Martin shouted not far away. Orlando immediately said to Ningxi affectionately, "Don't worry, I'll secretly slow down a little later. You don't have to worry about not being able to keep up." "Thank you, Senior Orlando." Ningxi thanked him obediently. Orlando's protectiveness was satisfied, and he smiled with satisfaction. Action. Filming began. Orlando and Ningxi stood opposite each other in a forest. In this scene, Orlando stole the treasure map and was stopped by Ningxi. The moment the director shouted, the originally graceful and soft classical beauty seemed to have changed into a different person in an instant. In an instant, with the momentum of breaking through the air, she flew a kick toward Orlando with incomparable fierceness. Under the high slit of the cheongsam, a white color flashed. When they were filming, the two mainly practiced their movements. In addition, this was the first time they were filming, so Orlando just treated it as a practice. He didn't expect that Ningxi would change so much after entering the role. She was simply a walking killing machine. However, before he could react, the other party continued to attack him fiercely. She was no longer as gentle and obedient as before. She was simply terrifying. At the last moment, Orlando was stepped under Ningxi's foot, and she coldly pulled out the treasure map that he had hidden in his clothes, lying on a dead leaf. Orlando looked at the girl's terrible and even chilling expression with an intoxicated expression. He murmured, "Oh baby, I'm head over heels for you." Ningxi. There was no such line, okay? This guy didn't like Chinese girls, but was a masochist. Chapter 16:12. Good take. After a while, the director shouted. Hearing the director's shout, not only Orlando, but Ningxi was also stunned. Did she hear it wrong? Not take-o, but good tack? Forget it. Maybe the director thought Orlando's impromptu line was good. Anyway, it was good to have a good take. Ningxi hurriedly took her foot off Orlando's body. She reached out to Orlando and apologized. "I'm very sorry, Senior Orlando. Did I hurt you just now?" Orlando held Ningxi's hand with an exaggerated expression, as if he had been blessed by a queen. "Of course not, honey. You were too gentle. You could have used more force. Make it hurt more." Ningxi. What the hell did he mean by making it hurt more? This guy couldn't really be a shiver, right? That's good. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure working with you this time. I hope I'll have a chance to work with you again next time. Ningxi bowed to Orlando to express her gratitude, and then went to thank the other artists and staff one by one. After this scene, she would be done. Xiao Tao, who had just come to her senses from the scene of her handsome brother Shi, found that brother Shi was done. Sister Gigi said it would take a few days, but she didn't expect it to be so smooth. It was done in one day. Oh, what a pity. Not only was the scenery beautiful, but the handsome guys were also extremely handsome. Orlando was indeed the little devil that his fans called him. He was so charming, so charming. Seeing Ningxi saying goodbye to the audience, Orlando couldn't sit still anymore. He rushed up to Martin, his beautiful eyes full of begging. Oh, my dear Mr. Director, I think I said the wrong line just now, didn't I? So let me do it again. The director was deep in thought. Hearing this, he waved his hand impatiently. Orlando, this scene is over. Please don't disturb me. Then he went to the camera to watch the replay. Orlando sadly reached out to the director's merciless back. After greeting the actors and staff, Ningxi walked up to the director. Director Martin, I'm honored to work with you. Although it's a short time, I've learned a lot. Ningxi said goodbye. If there's nothing else I need to do, I'll leave the team tomorrow. After all, the hotel was provided free of charge and was considered a public resource. It wouldn't be good for her to continue staying here after her scenes were over. Director Martin looked at the girl in front of him and said seriously, My dear Shi, I have a request. You did a great job today, but I hope you can stay for a few more days. 3 days. No, 2 days, is that okay? Ningxi thought for a while, thinking that there might be something else that needed her cooperation. For example, if there was a change in the plot, then her part would also be involved. Since it was the director's request and her schedule was enough, Ningxi wouldn't refuse, so she simply agreed. Of course, no problem. I'm in the hotel. Director, if you need anything, you can contact me at any time. Martin heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you so much. Chapter 16:13. After work, Martin immediately went to find the scriptwriter. Charles, please come to my hotel room after you're done. Bring the script with you. Charles, who had a cigarette in his mouth, looked as if he had expected this. He then made an okay gesture. Inside the hotel room, Martin was pacing back and forth. When Charles came in, he did not have time to say much. He could not wait to get straight to the point. Buddy, I want to add more scenes for dusk. What do you think? Charles gave Martin a high five and said in Chinese, Gentlemen think alike. Martin immediately expressed his thoughts excitedly. There's only one fight scene, that's too little. Dusk's skills are great, the effects are very exciting. Charles pondered for a moment and then interrupted him. But buddy, you have to understand that if we add too many scenes, it means that we have to cut out other parts of the plot. One had to know that movies had a very precise time requirement. Sometimes a frame of special effects would cost a lot of money. It was not easy to get an extra second of footage. The reason why Martin was so conflicted was naturally because of this. He said with a firm gaze, Charles, don't you think that this wonder of uncanny craftsmanship and the strong Oriental cultural heritage displayed by the sunset are more touching than the cold special effects? I know there are risks, but I believe in my judgment. Charles shrugged. Okay, if you insist. In fact, I think so too. Okay, let's discuss the additional scenes. How long do you want to add? 10 minutes. No, 15 minutes. Martin said excitedly. Appearing for 15 minutes in a blockbuster full of special effects. That was almost as long as the second female lead scenes. Even Benny, who was one of the main leads, only had 10 minutes. Charles said. If that's the case, then I suggest that we add another emotional line. Her and Orlando's emotional line. Before the scriptwriter Charles could finish his words, there was a loud bang. A tall figure rushed in like a whirlwind and hugged Charles. Oh baby, I love you. You're my angel. Charles pushed Charles away helplessly. Orlando, you don't have to thank me. I think Martin thinks so too. Otherwise he wouldn't have left you the wrong line just now. Orlando was about to hug Martin again, but Martin dodged him with disdain. Orlando, I know she's your type. Orlando immediately interrupted him and said with a serious expression, Oh no, darling, she's not just my type. She is my queen. Martin was speechless. But, I have to warn you. You know me. Flirting with girls is strictly forbidden on set. Gossip is strictly forbidden. You'd better be careful. Orlando pointed to the sky and swore. I swear to God. I will definitely endure until the filming is over before I pursue her. Martin knew that although Orlando was a playboy, he still had professional ethics, so his expression softened a little. Orlando saw that the director was no longer angry, so he quickly stuck to the more easygoing scriptwriter and smiled obsequiously. Hey dear Charles, what do you think about arranging a bed scene? It will definitely be very exciting. Chapter 16:14. Orlando's request was flatly rejected by the director. In the end, he decided to take the ambiguous route. Orlando had a good impression of this mysterious Oriental woman, but the goddess was heartless. Falling flowers yearned for love, but heartless water flowed mercilessly. In short, it was Orlando's wishful thinking. Orlando imagined himself being stared at by those cold, emotionless eyes, and suddenly felt his blood boil. Well, it was also very exciting to be rejected by the queen. After returning to the hotel, Ningxi first reported the situation to Lin Jiji. Sister Jiji, today's shooting went well. Both scenes have been shot, but the director asked me to stay for another 2 days. Maybe he needs me to cooperate with him later. On the other end of the phone, Lin Jiji was silent for a while, but she didn't say anything. Okay, got it. Generally speaking, an artist would not be asked to stay on the crew after shooting. Besides, Ningxi's scenes didn't affect much, so there was no possibility of any change, unless there might be more scenes later. However, in a Hollywood crew, it was good enough that Chinese people didn't have all kinds of scenes deleted. Many artists had been filming for a few months, and in the end, only a few scenes were deleted. It was almost impossible to have more scenes. Lin Jiji wasn't sure, so she didn't say anything, but let Ningxi continue to wait. Ningxi had just taken a shower, and was leaning against the recliner on the balcony, enjoying the cool night breeze mixed with the fragrance of plants. Suddenly, a low, hoarse, and affectionate voice came from downstairs. You let me taste the taste of love, like a quiet night in the forest, like the mountains of spring, dispirited like a free and easy stroll in the rain, like a crazy desert storm, like a gentle sleeping blue sea. Xiao Tao rushed out of the room. Ah, it sounds so good. It seems to be Lord Orlando's voice. Orlando had been a singer before entering the entertainment industry. His voice was very charming, and he was once known as the Prince of Love Songs. Now, on such a beautiful night, with such a beautiful scenery, he was singing this love song with love, which was enough to make all girls fall in love. Xiao Tao didn't even put on a mask. She took it off, then leaned on the railing excitedly and looked downstairs, exclaiming excitedly, Ah, brother Shi, it really is Lord Orlando. At this moment, Orlando was standing under a bush of roses. Behind him was the rippling surface of the lake. He had blonde hair and blue eyes, and he was looking at Ningxi affectionately as he sang. It was like a romantic scene from a retro movie. Let me give you my whole life. Let me fall in love with your smile, let me die in your arms, let me always be by your side, please accept my love for you. Hearing this, Xiao Tao suddenly recovered from her intoxication and covered her mouth. Ah, my God. What does Lord Orlando mean? Standing on elder brother Shi's balcony and singing a love song, and a love song with such lyrics. Although Orlando was singing in English, this song was too famous. It was a household name in China. Xiao Tao was also very familiar with it, so she understood all the lyrics. Ningxi looked downstairs and happened to meet Orlando's affectionate eyes. Ningxi. She had thought that even if Orlando had feelings for her, he would not show it in front of the crew, but now, Ningxi pinched between her eyebrows and was worried about what to do, when she heard Orlando's cell phone ringing downstairs. At the same time, the opposite window opened. Through the shadow of the tree, Ningxi vaguely saw Director Martin holding the phone and shouting, Orlando, what did I say to you? Director Martin's roar came from the other end of the phone. Orlando looked aggrieved. I did promise you, but she is so cute that I can't help it. Dear Martin, if you had fallen in love with a girl, you would understand me. You shut up for your father. Get out of there now. Chapter 16:15. You shut up for your father. Get out of there now. Martin roared so loudly that even Ningxi could hear him. Ningxi was speechless as she listened to their bickering. Orlando reluctantly glanced at Ningxi, and then muttered to Martin on the other end of the line. Martin, do you know what? You look like a father who wants to break up his daughter's love. Martin. He really wanted to beat that brat to death now. After being scolded for a while, Orlando finally left without turning back 3 times. Soon after he left, Ningxi's cell phone rang. It was Director Martin calling. Martin sighed helplessly. I'm sorry. That brat was too rude. I hope he didn't bother you. You can just ignore him. Ahem. It's okay. Fortunately, the entire scenic area was closed and there were no outsiders, so it wasn't a big deal. Martin continued. There's one thing I wanted to tell you when I was ready, but I'd better tell you now. I've discussed it with the scriptwriter, and we want to add more scenes for you. We'll decide the specific content as soon as possible, so please wait for a few more days. Hearing Martin's words, Ningxi was stunned. More scenes. Yes, your performance today was very exciting. I believe that your participation will surprise the audience even more. It sounded like there would be a lot more scenes. Ningxi quickly calmed down. Director Martin, thank you. Thank you so much for your affirmation. No, you deserve it. By the way, in addition to the fight scenes, you will also have a romantic relationship with Orlando. But don't worry, it's just an ambiguous relationship. Martin explained. Okay, I see. Thank you, Director. I'll do my best. Thank you for your trust and the opportunity. Ningxi still couldn't understand what was going on until she hung up the phone. Not only did they add a fight scene, but they also added a romantic relationship with one of the main characters. Xiao Tao immediately forgot about Orlando and was attracted by the word more scenes. What's wrong? What's wrong? What scenes? Brother Shi, did the director say he would add scenes for you? I think so. That's great. Xiao Tao spun around excitedly. I'll go tell Big Sis Gigi about this good news. After receiving Xiao Tao's call, Lin Gigi didn't expect that her prediction would come true. She immediately told Ningxi to cooperate with her, and told them not to disclose the news to others. After all, it was just a verbal statement from the director. It hadn't been confirmed yet. Moreover, even if it was confirmed, it wasn't certain if it would be deleted later on. If it was leaked now and deleted later on, it would inevitably be seen as deliberate deception and hype. Right now, there were countless pairs of eyes staring at Ningxi. He had to be careful at all times. Got it, big sister Gigi. Also, there's one more thing. Xiao Tao looked at Ningxi hesitantly. She didn't know if she should tell her about Orlando. Ningxi also had a headache, but she felt that it was necessary to inform Lin Gigi, so she nodded to Xiao Tao. Xiao Tao said, Sister Gigi, Orlando seems to be interested in Brother Shi. He was singing a love song for Brother Shi just now, but Director Martin shouted at him to stop. Sister Gigi, you have no idea how handsome and charming Mr. Orlando is. He sings so well and he seems to really like Brother Shi. Chapter 16:16. Xiao Tao was clearly reporting on her work, but the topic got sidetracked as she spoke. On the other end of the line, Lin Gigi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After all, Ningxi's image was very important. When she decided to take Ningxi with her, she had already prepared for this kind of thing. Ningxi had always been careful about what she said and did a good job. But she didn't expect that she couldn't hide forever. Nothing happened to the domestic artists, but something happened to the Hollywood crew. We just need to take care of ourselves and not let others gossip about us. As for Orlando, Director Martin is famous for his strictness. The director will restrain him. As for what would happen after the shooting, Ningxi would leave the crew and return to China after Orlando's part, so they wouldn't have anything to do with each other then. After the call with Lin Gigi, Ningxi felt relieved. Indeed, she just needed to get through this period of time. Moreover, for a man like Orlando, his passion came and went quickly. 2 days later, the new script was rushed out overnight. Ningxi was surprised after reading it. This plot was more important than she had imagined. After hearing this news, Lin Gigi immediately helped her adjust the following schedule to free up some time. Even though it might be deleted in the end, such an opportunity was too rare. She had to fight for it as long as there was a glimmer of hope. Sister Gigi, is there any news from Director Jiang? Ningxi had told herself not to think about it, but she still couldn't help asking. Rumor has it that it might be Fang Xiaowen, but there's no official news yet. I'll let you know as soon as there's news, Lin Gigi answered. Okay, thank you, Sister Gigi. Time passed quickly, and Ningxi's filming went smoothly. Director Martin's deterrence was obvious, and Orlando restrained himself. The last scene was going to be shot tomorrow. Orlando walked up to Ningxi with a reluctant look on his face. I really hope that the show can go on and on, Ningxi smiled. There's a saying in our country, all good things must come to an end. We'll have more opportunities to work together in the future. Thank you for taking care of me during this period, Senior Orlando. Probably knowing that Orlando might like to be abused, Ningxi tried to maintain a soft and well-behaved image in private. However, it seemed that it didn't work. The heat in Orlando's eyes did not subside. Instead, it became hotter and hotter as time passed. I'm really afraid that I won't be able to film the scene tomorrow. Orlando looked at the gun in his hand with a sad expression. In tomorrow's scene, Orlando would shoot Ningxi. Orlando hugged the scriptwriter Charles and cried several times. He even begged Ningxi to kill him, saying that he couldn't kill Ningxi. Even if it was just filming, Ningxi's gaze inadvertently fell on the gun in Orlando's hand. Then she raised her eyebrows and couldn't help but pause for a few seconds. Orlando saw that she was interested and immediately introduced it to her excitedly. This is the Bullet 92F, the King of Spears. The gun body is made of aerospace aluminum alloy. Perhaps because men were naturally interested in guns, Orlando talked to Ningxi for a long time, and then said, "This is a fake, but it's very realistic. You'll also need a gun in your scenes tomorrow. Come, I'll teach you how to hold a gun." Chapter 16-17. Ningxi had to maintain her image as a weak bunny, so she couldn't say that she was very good at it. She said innocently, "Thank you, Senior." When Orlando heard this, he immediately taught Ningxi how to hold a gun and shoot in detail, as well as techniques to make her movements look more beautiful. "Orlando, get ready for the next scene," the director shouted not far away, his tone full of warning. During this time, as long as Orlando stuck to Ningxi for more than 5 minutes, Martin would give him a cordial greeting. Orlando looked at the stick not far away, then gently placed the gun in Ningxi's hands. "Do you like it? You can take it back and play with it. You can return it to me tomorrow during filming." Martin asked me to familiarize myself with how to hold a gun, and I'm already very familiar with it. Ningxi originally wanted to say no. She wasn't interested in a fake gun. Besides, she didn't have many scenes where she used a gun. It was just one scene, so she didn't need to practice. However, as soon as she met the other party's bright eyes that were filled with anticipation, Ningxi could only nod and accept it. "Thank you." During this time, she had expressed her rejection openly and secretly. She had even hinted that she already had someone she liked, but the other party was completely immersed in his emotional world and didn't listen to her at all. Luckily, the filming would be completed tomorrow. That night, they returned to the hotel after work. After taking a shower, Ningxi called Lu Tingxiao. At that time, the Six Corporation was still brightly lit. In the conference room, the tedious and stressful memories made everyone's faces tense and exhausted. In the cold air, a cell phone suddenly rang. Lu Tingxiao glanced at the caller ID, then raised his hand to interrupt the higher-ups who were reporting. Meeting adjourned. Everyone looked at each other. How important was this call for the boss to interrupt the meeting at this time? Is there a need to ask? Just look at the boss's expression. "Thank you, boss, for saving my life." "Hello?" Lu Tingxiao walked to a quiet balcony. "I miss you." Hearing the girl's voice, the man's expression instantly softened. "I asked Cheng Feng to book the plane ticket." Ningxi naturally knew how busy Lu Tingxiao was during this period of time, but just because she casually said something, he actually wanted to rush over immediately. Sigh. She must have saved the world in her past life. Ningxi said hurriedly, "No need. I'm calling to tell you that I'll be filming my last scene tomorrow, and I'll be able to go back the day after tomorrow. Give me your itinerary, I'll pick you up." Okay. Ningxi was about to spend some time with Lu Tingxiao when she heard someone singing outside the window. You let me taste the taste of love, like the quiet night in the forest, like the mountains in the spring. Ningxi was speechless. She had almost forgotten that a certain someone would hold a concert from time to time. Ahem, one of the leading actors of our crew used to be a singer. He likes to shout when he has nothing to do. Let me stay by your side forever. Please accept my love for you, dear Shi, my most beloved Shi. Ningxi. Damn. This guy actually changed the lyrics. 6 Tingxiao. Ningxi. Boss, don't worry, I will pinch it myself. The next day, at the filming location. Last night, Ningxi had miserably explained to Lu Tingxiao for a long time. The first thing she had done after arriving at the set was to focus on preparing, hoping to pass it in one go. On the contrary, Orlando had made up his mind to do a few more NGs today. However, when it was time to film, Orlando was stunned. Chapter 16-18. The location of today's shoot was a cliff with a magnificent scenery. Originally, Ningxi was going to die under Orlando's gun, but later, Martin and Charles discussed it and finally arranged for her to be shot and fall off the cliff. In the end, Ningxi's life and death were not mentioned. When Martin made this suggestion, Charles was surprised to understand what Martin meant. This film was very likely to be a sequel. If the first film was shot and the response to Ningxi's role was very good, then it was very likely that Martin would let Ningxi continue to shoot the sequel. Ningxi naturally thought of this when she got the revised script. Even if she didn't want to avoid Orlando, she would definitely go all out today. 3, 2, 1 action. With the sound of the clappers, the shooting began. From the beginning, Orlando had the idea of deliberately making a few mistakes in order to get along with Ningxi for a while. He had been in the entertainment industry for a long time, and it was really easy for him to make a flawless take. However, when the shooting officially began, Orlando was completely dumbfounded. The moment the director shouted cut, Ningxi, who was holding a gun and fighting with the extras not far away, seemed to be possessed by something terrible. Originally, her plan for this scene was very simple, but under her performance, it became completely different. That dazzling marksmanship, that explosive cool action of holding the gun, that cold and excited gaze, it was as if she really was an emotionless assassin. And Ningxi's marksmanship was too amazing. Yesterday, he just casually taught her a lesson with an ulterior motive. It was impossible for her to do this. Although it was the first time they were shooting, Ningxi could actually lead everyone into the role and make everyone cooperate with her every move. Even Orlando, who had originally planned to make a take, in the end, his body completely uncontrollably tangled with the girl. He kicked away the gun in her hand, and then 10 steps away, he raised the gun to the girl's heart. His face full of emotions of love and hate. At this moment he forgot everything. He forgot that he was Orlando, forgot that he had prepared to make a selfish take. He looked at the girl opposite him and completely entered the world of the protagonist Randy. This mysterious and irredeemable girl just had to be his enemy. Compared to Orlando's complicated and struggling expression, Ningxi was just a killing weapon trained from a young age. She had no emotions, and even in the face of death, there was still no fluctuation in her eyes. Ningxi looked at Orlando, and her gaze fell on the gun in his hand. In the next second, her gaze sharpened, and her indifferent expression, which had been completely immersed in the play, shook imperceptibly. That gun bang. Finally, Orlando closed his eyes and pulled the trigger. The moment Orlando pulled the trigger, his closed eyes widened in horror, and he was shaken out of the movie by the gunshot. What's going on? This was just a replica gun. How could it make such a sound? And the feeling when he fired the gun just now. No, not only Orlando, but everyone present was also stunned. Martin, Charles, and all the other staff were in a mess. They ran in the direction of the girl's body in horror. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's a real gun. Fuck. What the hell is going on? Ningxi, how are you? Chapter 16-19. In the hospital, outside the ward, Orlando's beautiful blonde hair was in a mess, His clothes were wrinkled, and one of his shoes had run away. At this moment, his face was filled with panic. In addition to Orlando, there were also the director, the producer, the screenwriter, the prop master, and Xiao Tao. Orlando, you'd better give me an explanation. What the hell is going on? Martin was as irritable as an enraged lion. Martin, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how it turned into a real gun. Orlando held his head in pain, and his fingers were still trembling. Martin stared at the man in front of him. He didn't seem to be pretending, however. Martin's expression didn't ease at all. You don't know. That gun has been with you all the time. How could you not know? Orlando was at a loss. He held his head for a long time before he stammered. Yes, it's with me, but not all the time. I gave the gun to she last night and asked her to take it back to practice. She gave it back to me this morning. Xiao Tao was crying so hard that her eyes were almost swollen like peaches. She sobbed and said, Director, Mr. Orlando did give the gun to brother she last night. I was the one who returned it to Mr. Orlando the next day. Did it pass through anyone else's hands? Martin asked immediately. Xiao Tao shook her head. I don't think so. Damn it. Martin cursed in a low voice irritably. The hotel was locked down. Except for the staff, no one was allowed to enter. Who on earth changed the gun without anyone noticing? Why did they do this to us? It was a mess just now, and Ningxi's costume was red, so they couldn't tell where she was injured. Now the doctor was still examining her, and they didn't know how she was doing. Ningxi was the most popular actress of Shengshi Entertainment, the most powerful agency in Hua Nation, and Shengshi Entertainment was also a subsidiary of Lu Enterprises. If something happened to Ningxi and his crew, even if this matter didn't alarm the Lord of Lu Enterprises, they would definitely be in big trouble. Hua Nation had very strict gun control, so he used his connections to send the patient to this very secretive private hospital. Otherwise, if he was sent to another hospital, even the police would be alerted when they saw the gunshot wound. Why isn't she out yet? Orlando anxiously looked into the ward. Orlando, go back to the hotel and stay there. You're still a suspect. Martin said coldly. Orlando's face was ashen. I will, but please let me confirm Dusk's situation first. At this time, the door of the ward opened, and a doctor in a white coat walked out. Doctor, how is she? A group of people surrounded her. Just as Martin nervously confirmed Ningxi's condition with the doctor, footsteps suddenly came from the corridor behind him. Martin's face darkened. Why would anyone come? He had clearly instructed the hospital to seal off this floor. Behind the man was a subordinate who looked like an assistant. His entire body exuded an incomparably frightening aura. As if he had come from a world of ice and snow. Martin's heart skipped a beat when he saw who it was. He cursed inwardly. Chapter 1620. Lu Tingxiao. How was this possible? The CEO of the Lu Group, a legend on Wall Street, a legend in the Chinese business world. The other party was extremely low-key and rarely appeared in public. Martin recognized him because he had seen him once at a cocktail party. The other party did not seem to be as unreasonable as the rumors made him out to be. He seemed to be very interested in the entertainment industry, and was very knowledgeable. He talked to him about many professional issues. Leo. Martin called out the other party's English name with trepidation. Martin almost did not dare to recognize him because the man in front of him now was too different from the one he had seen. How is he? Lu Tingxiao's eyes did not linger on Martin for a moment. Instead, he looked straight at the doctor like a sharp knife. Martin still had a glimmer of hope in his heart, but he did not expect the thing he was most worried about to happen. The other party was really here for Ningxi. The CEO of the group actually came out personally for an employee of a subsidiary? The doctor was frightened by the terrifying aura of the person who came. After the man appeared, he was instantly in a position of control. The doctor quickly ignored Martin and answered him, he's fine now. Fortunately, it's just a superficial wound. Superficial wound? It's just a superficial wound. Are you sure? Orlando could not help but interrupt. Yes, the bullet didn't hit any vital organs. It hit his shoulder, the doctor answered truthfully. Hearing the doctor's words, Martin looked like he had just survived a disaster. His back was already drenched in sweat. Then Martin's eyes were filled with disbelief. One had to know that Orlando's gun was aimed at Ningxi's heart. If it had hit her, it would have been a disaster. At this moment, he suddenly remembered that before Orlando shot, Ningxi seemed to have moved very quickly. Did she notice that something was wrong and deliberately dodged? In that situation, how did she notice that something was wrong and accurately avoid the vital organs? Orlando did not have the time to think about who the person who suddenly appeared was. As soon as the doctor finished speaking, he immediately rushed into the ward. Lu Tingxiao's eyes lingered on Orlando for a second before he stepped into the ward. Martin was still completely clueless about the situation, so he could only follow him in uneasily, in the ward. At this moment, Ningxi was leaning on the bed. Her wound had been treated, and she had changed into a hospital gown. She looked fine, but her face was a little pale. Are you okay? Sorry. I'm really sorry. I really didn't know that gun was real. I'd rather have the bullet hit me thousands of times, suffer all the pain for you. Orlando was about to shake Ningxi's hand excitedly, but for some reason he felt a chill down his spine, so he retracted his hand halfway. Ningxi looked at Orlando, and was about to speak when she saw the man behind Orlando from the corner of her eyes. She was so excited that she almost jumped up. Exine. Boss. He almost changed his words. Lu Tingxiao frowned and strode over to press her down. His tone was extremely cold. Don't move. Boss. Why are you here? Darling. I missed you so much. I was passing by on a business trip and heard about what happened to you. Lu Tingxiao said simply, because the room was full of people from the production team. In fact, after calling Ningxi yesterday, he booked a plane ticket and rushed over today. He was afraid that his wife's hand would hurt, so he came to pick the peach blossoms in person. Chapter 16:21. However, he didn't expect to receive such frightening news as soon as he got off the plane. Thank you, boss. The doctor just checked on me. It's just a superficial wound. It's not a big deal. I'm in so much pain, I want a kiss and a hug. Although Ningxi called him boss, the look in her eyes betrayed her coquettish nature. Lu Tingxiao almost lost control on the spot. Orlando's Chinese was passable. Hearing their conversation, he realized that the man who suddenly appeared was Ningxi's boss. Orlando turned to Lu Tingxiao with a serious expression and gave him a 90-degree bow on the spot. So you're Dusk's boss. I often hear she mention you. She says that you're someone she admires very much. It's all my fault. I didn't take good care of the gun, which caused it to be swapped. I'm the one who caused she to suffer such a terrible injury. Don't worry, I'll take responsibility for this. Lu Tingxiao could tell from the way Orlando looked at Ningxi that this was the rotten peach blossom he heard on the phone last night. His expression was cold. Take responsibility? Orlando stole a glance at Ningxi bashfully. Then he continued, I've decided. I want to marry she. Orlando spoke in Chinese. His Chinese was obviously not very good. He couldn't differentiate between the words marry and marry. After he said that, he seemed to realize that he was wrong, so he changed his words. I want to marry she. Anyway, I'll marry she. Lu Tingxiao. Ningxi. Brother, what grudge do you have against me? Isn't it enough for you to shoot me? I'm already in such a state, and you still won't let me go? Even Martin couldn't stand it anymore. Orlando, shut up. You almost killed her, and now you want to marry her? What kind of logic is this? Also, he didn't know if it was just his imagination, but he felt that Lu Tingxiao's appearance was too strange. It wasn't as simple as just passing by and finding out about this. Hence, he was afraid that Orlando would say something wrong. However, Orlando wouldn't listen to anyone else's advice. He looked at Lu Tingxiao excitedly and continued, Sir, please believe in my sincerity toward she and be a witness to my vow today. Not a single word I said was false. From the first time I saw Dusk, I fell for her. Be it the way she hit me or the way she looked at me coldly, it made me believe that she was the person I had been looking for. I beg you, give me Xiaoxi. Ningxi. It wasn't easy for me to escape from death. Was I going to die because of this guy? She no longer dared to look at Lu Tingxiao's expression. The air was eerily silent. Orlando stubbornly continued to watch Lu Tingxiao. Lu Tingxiao, no. Why? Orlando furrowed his brows. My feelings for she are sincere. I can hide our relationship for the sake of her career. Lu Tingxiao's gaze swept over Martin and the others. Excuse me for a moment. I have something to say to this gentleman alone. Martin was originally full of questions, but he didn't have a chance to ask after being interrupted by Orlando. Seeing that things had developed to this point, he had no choice but to leave with everyone. Why is that? After everyone left, Orlando continued to ask. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl on the bed and stroked her chin with his slender fingers. In the next second, he leaned over and covered her lips with a deep, lingering kiss. Because she's mine. Chapter 16:22. Orlando stood there in a daze, looking as if he had been struck by lightning into ashes. His hair was a mess, and his mouth opened and closed as if he wanted to say something, but he couldn't say anything for a long time. After a long time, a Chinese idiom finally came out of his mouth. You stole what you were guarding. Ningxi. Don't show off your Chinese if you're not good at it, okay? Speaking of which, she really had to sigh that her sweetheart was getting more and more skilled at ruthlessly destroying flowers. So handsome that her heart was beating wildly. Ningxi coughed lightly and corrected him. It's mutual affection. Senior, I've told you before that I already have someone I love. Orlando stared at Lu Tingxiao, as if his outlook on life had been greatly subverted. That's impossible. How can a girl like such a cold guy? I'm more handsome than him, more charming than him, sweeter than him, cuter than him, more passionate than him. Are you being coerced by him? Because he's your boss? Ningxi. I was the one who confessed to him and begged him to date me. Listening to the girl's words, Lu Tingxiao's expression was incomparably gentle. Orlando clutched his scarred heart shakily, but he still didn't give up. Suddenly he thought of something and said excitedly, It said that he has a son. He even has a son. He's no longer pure. No longer pure. Ningxi was even more speechless. He sounded as if he was pure. He had so many girlfriends. Senior, people who love each other don't care about these things. How can this be? Orlando squatted in the corner under the dark clouds of rain. This is not true. I don't believe it. I won't give up. In the end, all the crew members, including Orlando, were invited by Cheng Feng to cooperate with the investigation. For a moment, only Lu Tingxiao and Ningxi were left in the ward. Ningxi began to soothe him. Lu Tingxiao, I'm really fine. 1 second before Orlando shot, I realized that the gun seemed to be real. So I dodged the bullet. The bullet just grazed me. It looks a bit scary, but it's just a skin wound. I'll be fine soon. Lu Tingxiao was silent, but his face was still unusually ugly. What if she hadn't dodged? That spear would hit her heart. He didn't even dare to think about this possibility. Looks like someone wants to kill me. It was just that there were too many suspects. He really had no clue at the moment. Ningxi frowned and recalled Orlando's behavior from beginning to end. During this period of time, according to my interaction with Orlando and my understanding of him, he really didn't know anything. And that gun has always been with me. It shouldn't have been in anyone else's hands. It's really strange. Don't think about it. Have a good rest. Leave this to me. Oh. Ningxi listened obediently. Go home. Lu Tingxiao directly carried the girl by the waist. Although his tone was harsh, his actions were incomparably gentle. Ningxi hurriedly said, What? But what about my last scene? You almost lost your life, and you're still thinking about this? Lu Tingxiao said coldly, Special effects. Looking at Lu Tingxiao's scary expression, Ningxi didn't dare to ask more questions. She thought for a while. She was still in the movie until the last moment. The scene where the bullet hit the heart, and the falling off the cliff were all special effects, so she was relieved. Chapter 16:23. Lu Tingxiao didn't waste any time and took Ningxi back in his private plane. Orlando was still waiting for Ningxi to finish the investigation, but he didn't know that she had already left Chuan City. Take a nap. On the plane, Lu Tingxiao carefully covered the girl with the quilt. In order to finish shooting and leave as soon as possible, Ningxi was really too tired during this period. Her physical strength and energy were almost overdrawn. At this moment, because Lu Tingxiao was beside her, she immediately relaxed completely. She nodded in a daze and soon fell asleep. Lu Tingxiao gently untied the girl's clothes and looked at the gauze on the girl's shoulder. His face was even darker. In the capital, after returning home, Ningxi temporarily stopped all her work under Lu Tingxiao's instructions and stayed at home to recuperate. She was finally allowed to go out when the gauze was removed and the wound was scabbed. In the evening, she asked Ning Tianxin to meet in a restaurant. Ning Tianxin didn't want to trouble her, so she went back when she was almost recovered. Ningxi was busy shooting and Ning Tianxin was busy going abroad. They hadn't seen each other for a long time. Xiaoxi, how is your injury? It's just a minor injury. I've recovered. How about you? Have you continued to take the medicine Annie gave you? Ningxi asked. I'm fine. Annie's medicine is very useful. I've been taking it on time. The doctor said I'm recovering well, Ning Tianxin said. Ningxi was a little relieved when she heard that. But she knew that Ning Tianxin was comforting her. How could she be fine? Even Annie said that it would take a long time for her to recover. As for whether she could have children in the future, it was still unknown. Have you finished the formalities for going abroad? Almost. Ning Tianxin held the teacup in her hand and looked a little embarrassed. I wanted to take Mom with me so that I can take care of her, but she didn't want to. She said she was not used to the life abroad. It's like this, and she is not willing to move when she is old. Second aunt has moved out and lived alone. She doesn't have so many things to deal with. You can hire a reliable nanny. I will visit her often when I am free. Don't worry. Ningxi comforted her. That's right. Xiaoxi, thank you. If it weren't for you. Look at you. You're being polite with me again. After chatting for a while, Ningxi noticed that Ning Tianxin's face was getting paler and paler. She asked nervously, Sister Tianxin? What's wrong with you? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Ning Tianxin gently put her fingers on her lower abdomen, frowned and shook her head whispering, It's okay, Cici. It's my menstrual period today. I've had menstrual pain before. Maybe it's the first time I've had it after giving birth, so I'm having a big reaction. Ningxi was heartbroken. She hurriedly stood up and went to help Ning Tianxin. She blamed herself. Then you should go back and rest. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have asked you out today. Ning Tianxin said helplessly. It's just menstrual pain. It's not a big deal. That's all? Your face is pale. Ningxi supported Ning Tianxin and slowly walked towards the door. Ning Tianxin didn't expect that she would have such a big reaction this time. She really couldn't take it anymore, so she left the restaurant with Ningxi's help. As soon as they stepped out of the door, they bumped into two people. They were Mo Lingtian and Guan Xiao. Ningxi's face darkened at the sight of them. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Chapter 1624. Mo Lingtian was also stunned when he saw Ningxi and Ning Tianxin. Especially when he saw Ning Tianxin, he stood there and didn't react for a long time. Ning Tianxin glanced at Mo Lingtian and the woman beside him. She was stunned for a while, but didn't react at all. When Ningxi chatted with Ning Tianxin just now, she deliberately didn't mention Mo Lingtian, because she didn't want Ning Tianxin to recall the past. She didn't expect that they would bump into Mo Lingtian when they were about to leave. Not only did they bump into Mo Lingtian, but Guan Xiao was beside Mo Lingtian. Ningxi's heart was filled with the feeling of being fucked up. She suppressed her violent nature when she saw Mo Lingtian. With a cold face, she held Ning Tianxin's hand, walked past the two of them, and quickly left. Even after Ningxi and Ning Tianxin had left, Mo Lingtian still stood there in the same position. Lingtian. Lingtian. Mo Lingtian didn't come to himself until he heard Guan Xiao's voice. What? Are you all right? Guan Ziao asked as she glanced at the two people who had gone far behind her. The woman beside Ningxi. Is she, that woman? The one who threatened you with the baby? Shut up. Mo Lingtian said instantly. His voice was surprisingly cold, and his face was full of frost. Guan Ziao had never seen Mo Lingtian being so cold to her. She was stunned. Noticing Guan Ziao's hurt expression, Mo Lingtian pinched his eyebrows and explained in a slow voice. Ziao, I've said that she's not that kind of person. It's my fault. Don't say that again. Guan Ziao frowned but didn't argue. She just looked a little sad and said, Sorry, I got it. In the car, Ningxi carefully watched Ning Tianxin's reaction from the rearview mirror while driving. What bad luck. Why did we bump into that scumbag? Ningxi couldn't help murmuring with a dark face. What made her even angrier was that Sister Tianxin was hurt so miserably, while that scumbag acted as if nothing had happened with a beauty beside him. No wonder he kept asking to see Sister Tianxin in the beginning. Why didn't he say anything? It turned out that he got his true love. Fuck, where was her knife? I shouldn't have tolerated it just now. He's such a playboy, but he's caused you so much trouble. While Ningxi was muttering indignantly, she found that Ning Tianxin seemed to have fallen asleep with her eyes closed. Her forehead was covered with cold sweat. Ningxi hurriedly sped up. Ning Tianxin's condition seemed to be a bit serious. She should go straight to the hospital. When he was about to turn, he heard Ning Tianxin's weak voice. Don't go to the hospital. Xiaoxi, take me home, okay? Ningxi hesitated. There's medicine at home. I'll be fine after resting for a while. Seeing Ning Tianxin's rejection of the hospital, Ningxi had no choice but to send her home. Okay, I won't go to the hospital. I'll send you home. Have a good rest in the car. In the restaurant, the melodious sound of a violin filled her ears, and the air was filled with the fragrance of flowers. On the opposite side, Guan Ziao was wearing Chanel's latest custom-made white gown. It accentuated her slender waist, smooth skin, and ample bosom. She exuded a noble and arrogant aura. She was just sitting there quietly, but she was like a glowing object, stealing everyone's attention. Chapter 1625. Many men around them cast envious glances at Mo Lingtian. However, the man sitting on the chair opposite her was leaning against the back of the chair with his arm casually resting on the armrest. There was a hint of coldness and alienation between his brows. Although he was still sitting there, his expression was obviously distracted. Guan Ziao naturally noticed that Mo Lingtian had been acting strangely ever since he saw that woman. In reality, ever since that incident, Mo Lingtian had been acting strangely. Was it because that woman was pregnant with his child? So even if he didn't like her, it was still different? Even if she didn't like Mo Lingtian, she still felt uncomfortable when she saw the change in his attitude towards her, especially when he spoke to her with that kind of attitude because of that woman. Ever since she was young, Mo Lingtian had never said a harsh word to her. Every time he saw her, all his attention would be on her. But now, Guan Ziao tried her best to ignore the discomfort in her heart. Uncle Lu and Auntie Lu actually arranged a socialite tea party for Ting Xiao behind his back, and even got Xiaobao to help him pick a woman. This is really. But this time, the Lu family situation is really tricky. No wonder Uncle Lu and Auntie Lu are so anxious. Guan Ziao was filled with disdain when she thought of those women who racked their brains to register for the Lu family in batches. Using such a method to let people pick and judge them was too degrading. Mo Lingtian's slender fingers caressed the wine glass in his palm. His eyes were dark and gloomy. He was obviously facing the woman he loved the most in his life, but he was like a madman. His mind was filled with the image of the other girl he saw just now. When he first found out that Tianxin had hit the child and saw the surveillance footage with his own eyes, he wanted to see her crazily. Later on, his rationality made him control himself and not disturb her anymore. No matter how much he tried to suppress it, his desire to see her grew stronger. He never imagined that he would meet her in such a situation today without any preparation. She had lost a lot of weight. She was already thin in the past and now she looked even thinner. When she saw him, she was very calm. He noticed that her complexion didn't look too good. She was very pale. Could it be that she was not feeling well? What Guan Ziao said, he could not hear a word. Thinking of this, he could no longer sit still. With a squeak, the chair rubbed against the floor. Mo Lingtian took out a brown portfolio from behind and put it in front of Guan Ziao. This is what you want. Sorry, I have something to do. I have to leave now. Lingtian. Guan Ziao stood up in surprise and wanted to ask, but Mo Lingtian had already disappeared. Sister Tianxin, do you really not need to go to the hospital? Ningxi fed Ning Tianxin a painkiller and made her a dose of medicine according to Annie's prescription, but she was still worried. It's an old problem. I know what I'm doing. I'll be fine after a good night's sleep. Well, I'll stay here with you. Ningxi tucked her in. After Ning Tianxin fell asleep, Ningxi walked to the balcony and called Annie. Hey Annie. As soon as the call was connected, Annie's nervous voice came from the other end. Brother Shi, I heard you were injured. Are you feeling better now? I wanted to go to see you, but it's a mess here. What's wrong with you? Ningxi asked hurriedly. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.